Happy Tuesday, everyone. I think you can tell from the block in my hand which wood type we're doing. In the background, you can see I have a birch biome quite near to where I did my second to last build. And I like that they look like bones. So I'm going to do something with like a rib cage sort of idea, and I wanted somewhere I could make a bridge to. So what I was actually thinking is to start at this previous build with the oak tree. I think it looks a lot like a train station. So I want to go from here and make a track. So I'm extending this slightly. I'm gonna try making what's gonna look like, hopefully, a splice to this oak tree here. So let's see. This week's been okay for me. It's been, I don't know, a little harrowing, but what week isn't a little harrowing? It's like what they call a female protagonist in an adventure or in a story. She's the heroine of the story. Let's see. So we've got a little swamp biome on this side. So that's not exactly birch. We've got a village. I think I could justify making it to here. So I want to make it like a sky train. That's kind of the idea. So it's going to go through the swamp. It's going to go past the lava fields and in between here, and then it's going to connect to the forest right up there. Yeah, and we've got like lots of neat mushrooms in the swamp biomes now. I like that addition. I think that's been needed since they introduced the giant mushrooms. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the world has always developed in new ways over time. So that's good to see. Like, there's always new stuff to like. I don't know. New stuff to explore, new stuff to experience, new stuff to experiment with. I'm gonna just make an artificial like planter for this one, as though like it's been given the kind of soil that it needs. This is 100% nerding, but you know, birch doesn't grow in just water, so what do I use to make the pot? That's a good question. I don't know. let's just use a lot of soil, or we could actually go glass. That would be interesting, hey? What does that imply? I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. No way. There's no such thing as overthinking. Only underthinking. And you can quote me on that. Let's see. If you're under the water, does that mean? Well, when you're thinking underwater. If you're a submarine pilot and you're thinking, does that mean you're does that mean you're underthinking? Because you're under well, you're under the boat. You see, you're under the water. I mean, so submariners, which is a real word, by the way. I didn't just make that up. That is actually the word for someone who pilots a submarine, or it is involved with the operations of a submarine. So it is definitely a real word. I know it sounds like I'm lying, but I'm actually not. It's true. You You could go look it up. Ask it, anything other than an LLM. Yeah. Let's see. First day as a second century warlord. Speaking of things that rhyme with Eminem. I'm tying branches to horses' tails to kick up a bunch of dust to catch my enemy out on the fact that, I don't know, I guess that the field is dusty. I'm just trying to point out, like, look how much dust there is. It's been a dry year, are you going to be able to grow your crops? Maybe you shouldn't be worrying about, this particular, this particular conflict, right? So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of sneaky peeky in that way. Let's see. IRL, is that strong enough? I feel like we want one more support, but we don't want to... I don't want to... I don't want to block. I don't want to block boats. I want boats to be able to travel through here. So it's like that. Like that, and then... Sneezing. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to contain this little pocket of seaweed. I just think it looks neat. Yeah, there we go. There's the support. And there, yeah, this is what I was talking about. So I want boats to be able to go through. I don't know how many... and there's the first build. I don't know how many viewers remember when lily pads used to be like... they would make your boat drop as an item. So navigating the water in a swamp biome was basically impossible. Because the moment the corner of your boat even touches a single lily pad, you're immediately in the water, and your boat's like, it didn't even have the ability to turn into an item for a while. So you would run into a lily pad, and it would break apart into like 1 or 2 planks and a couple of sticks. So it was actually totally... You would have to carry around a crafting table and like extra wood to be sure that you could use a boat. I don't know. I don't know who thought that was a good idea at all. It's just it's very silly. It's extremely silly. Let's see. What's the best path? I think that I mean, it depends. It depends what's traveling on this line. If it's going to be... rail cart. If it's going to be mine carts running on this, then we're kind of going to have to do... I want to go diagonally up this corner, but I think probably... it's better if it's like a 90-degree turn, and then so you can either go up or you can go right or left or whatever. You can't do both at the same time. Let's see. Oh, I'd really like that little... Let's just check this out. I don't know. I mean, today just feels like a day to explore the scenery. A little bit. A little bit. I've always been impressed with, like, terrain generation. It would be cool to actually, like, I don't know, to make a terrain generator that makes things like this sort of part of the world. And it just kind of starts out that way. Let's see, so I could just go straight through, because I'm not actually, I wouldn't have to cut down this tree for that. I'd like to avoid, I don't know, I mean it's Minecraft, but I'd like to avoid cutting down trees for my Public Works projects. Huh. That's very interesting. I don't know how to, I'm gonna, I don't know. I'm just gonna have to think about how I feel about this. Because, on one hand, you know, it is, it's very straight. It's very, it looks constructed. It doesn't look like natural or like part of the landscape. But it doesn't have to, right? I mean, it's just a conduit for travel. Let's see. I guess we can make it like this. The other option would be making it a tunnel, but I kind of dislike that idea. Well, because I just have to move a lot more dirt anyway, so it's not like it really would save me a lot of effort. Let's go up here and just make a support, and then that, and then that. I know it would be easier to just do one up and then over, but this way the orientation is the same. Okay. Let's see, how do we want to do... I mean, I could just make the whole thing one thing. I feel like I'm maybe going a little bit beyond the premise in the first place. But let's see, what do I do with that village? It's kind of interesting. I don't want to think about it right now. Do I treeify all the houses? Do I impose my worldview on the populace? I'm kind of leaning towards that option, actually. Okay. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll just start with what needs to be there, and then we can add to it to make it look a little bit more, yeah, like I said, natural. Like not just a little bit more, a little bit more blending in, a little bit more looking like something that makes any sense. But I mean, that's really interesting. Yeah, that looks really weird. Okay. Huh. I mean, the reason it looks weird to me is because, yeah, I mean, I'm imagining something growing, and you know, you never see a tree with branches like that. Super, I don't know, over-engineered, so kind of crazy nanomaterial thing going on. I don't know. It's all spider silk. There we go. I guess I could make this a series of suspension bridges. That would be kind of neat. Okay, so this gets us our zigzag, and then we can make... I want the train to pass through what looks like a rib cage, and then get to a structure. So I think I'm gonna have to make that structure here, because that kind of makes sense. Yeah, so I just need to match the height of that and then bring this in. But let's just start by figuring out exactly where that's going to be, because there's no reason not to give myself like visual reference, I guess you'd say. And then fill in the other side. Okay, and then this one is, that one is birch, so we can go up from here. Literally that one is part of that. And then this is this, and then this is this. So let's get on that. Let's get on that rib cage idea. Kinda like that. I don't know. Well, we'll just bring it in. Just bring it in, and then it's got more of a rib cagey sort of a look to it. This way. I don't really like that. What if we put something underneath and then just try to not really match the two sides, but just to kind of echo one side on the other? So it kind of looks like it could be the same thing, but I think this kind of does that work. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I think we're just gonna have to 1, 2, 3, 4 actually do the spacing right. Okay, we're there, and then that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's more like, yeah, so it's just there instead of there. And we get rid of that for now, because I don't really know where I want this to be. I think we can do this in a sort of, I don't know, tighter curve. This is harder to make look good than I thought. Well, we'll just carry on and hopefully find an answer. Yeah, okay. So then if we go up it, then another 3, I guess we could just make it go not as far in as it goes up. That looks a little bit more natchy. Okay. So then it's 1, 2, and then as soon as it's the second, there's a rise, and then there's a run. Just like, oh, this is just like math class. This is just like math class. Okay. I guess it's like this. Not like that. Like this. Like that? No. Okay. 1, 2. Yeah. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that looks right. Okay. And then all of these pairs are going to be slightly different. So I'm going to do 3 ribs because I feel like that's a pretty good level to do. That's 3, that's 4. But I'm trying to mimic those buried dinosaurs, which you do find in fossil biomes. So maybe this one can be a museum. Just a small, like, archaeological museum. Arg! Arg! Yeah, I think that looks okay. Yeah, I think that looks fine. Okay. I don't know. It is something's bugging me, but I don't know how to articulate it. Yeah, that much is fine. And then, so the spacing, I think I'm going to do the same kind of thing, 4, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a gap, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, makes 3 as a gap, and then that's 1, 2, 3, that's 1, 2, 3. This, maybe we can do 1, 2. So it's a little bit narrower on this side than that side. Still like a rib cage. And then, okay, and that matches that perfectly. So it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same thing I'm doing on this side as this side. 3, 4. Except that needs to come out, and that needs to go there. But that still doesn't look right. Oh, because this first one isn't supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be like this. You can just pretend the rib broke or something, I guess. Here, that. And then those two. Yeah, okay. Okay. Okay, I don't mind that. And then that, and then that, and then this can go 1, 2, 3, and then in, and then 1, 2, 3, and then up. That's just a little closer, just a little smaller. Okay, I like that actually. Let's see. Does this look creepy? I'm trying to figure out if this looks creepy or cute. I feel like whether it's creepy or cute will almost entirely hinge on whether I include some pink just in the build in general. And well, I think we all know that pink is the best color, and so I'm going to go with pink. Okay. Does that look right? Yeah, okay, so now we need to think about how we're actually supporting that whole thing. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make I'm gonna make this at the bottom. I mean, we could kind of explain it away as like, well, you don't want to make like a structure too close to that pool of lava, because it'll just burn down there. So it makes sense to make a supporting pillar in this area, but maybe not that close to the lava. And this lets you build up from the ground further away and add more support from the top. So this part, I think, is going to be a little suspension bridgey. As in, we're going to get the best material ever. Did you know that spider silk is 10 times stronger than steel for tensile strength? I think that's just kind of like silly. It doesn't make any sense. Now, tensile strength, that just means when you're pulling on it. It's not when it's not for pushing. So it only works in one direction, that it's super strong. So it would work really well as a rubber band, but you couldn't use it as a I can't think of literally anything. A pillar, a supporting pillar. So here, there's kind of a reinforced structure. And I think we can make this really cute. So, there, and then this, and what does that look like? I feel like that overdoes it. This will just be for the effect then. Let's see. Stories we tell. Stories we tell about architecture. Stories we tell about necessity. What do we actually need? You know, in a space. What do we need in a city? What needs to be there, right? Safe place to sleep, right? That should be the #1 priority. The city should be a safe place to be for everyone. Just going to give it a lot of support. I should probably do something with this lava. Let's see. Let's get some glass on it. Maybe we should preserve part of it. So there's like a sacrificial pit to sacrifice or dispose of garbage, for example. You know, who was it that did the video about like, is it practical to dispose of all of your garbage like for a city in the mouth of an active volcano? And I think the conclusion was it basically is. I think about that a lot. we should have a volcano. I think every city should have, you know, its own volcano. Just to get rid of trash. But the thing is, every time you throw something in, if it's organic, if there's any if there's a lot of like carbon or nitrogen in it, it'll just burn. So it's quite dangerous. It's downright explosive. If you threw a bag of trash in the mouth of an active volcano, it would definitely go bang. So you'd need to plan for that and not throw too much garbage in all at once. And the fumes would not be good for people. Makes like carcinogenic, so things that cause cancer come from burning garbage. So any plan that involves burning garbage, you kind of need something to mitigate that. What am I even talking about? Here we've got some nice little lava lanterns potentially. I think I'm gonna go one step further and build like a little shell around just that first layer of lava. So it looks like a little lamp. Disco party, disco ball, everybody hit the wall. Disco party, disco crazy, disco something, disco lady. I found a 70s playlist recently, and it always does something to my brain. Is it a good something? I think so. When I rediscover 70s music every single time, and it happens a lot that I rediscover it. Because it's old music. It's from a while ago now. 70s was a while ago. Like 50 years ago now? 50 years ago. 50 years ago. Can you imagine being 50 years old? It couldn't be me. I simply would not. They would ask me, hey, do you want to become 50? And I would simply refuse. So, let's see. Let's see. If it's not exposed to air, I can have wood at the bottom to fill in gaps. What is it connected to? I don't know. So this goes too deep, but that's fine. Don't really like that. was I trying to do? And why did I leave that? I don't know. Anyway, so there's some lamps, and yeah, so they're sitting on stone. Anywhere they're sitting on something, they're sitting on stone. Kind of. Just don't worry. Don't worry. That's pretty much. It looks like a face. And it looks like a little weird little guy, sort of screaming in joy, or pain. Not really sure which, but everything's connected there. So I think there's something I can do with that. But I'll leave that for another day. How did this turn out? This kind of looks, well, it looks supported. So that's what I wanted. I just wanted it to look like it had something holding it up. So now, I mean, now we're getting to the actual. We built a tree house, or a house tree. Very important distinction there. So let's start with this, I suppose. I think I'm gonna make this whole thing a little bit of a bowl, and then just have a platform extending out from there. To meet the train. And then there's going to be dinosaur skeletons inside. And I think I will probably save that for a different episode as well. Just because, yeah, this did take a minute to actually lock in, and get it where I wanted it. But if you think about it, this is kind of like the skull, if that's a rib cage. So am I gonna go that literal? I don't think so. I think that would going that literal would kind of mess up the build here. But we are going to make a bit of a shallow depression. So there's a bit of a gallery that you look down into when you enter in the train. And yeah, how many fossils can we actually fit in this practically? That's going to be an interesting question to answer. I feel like not very many unless I make it very, very tall. I could put a Brontosaurus in the center, maybe, and then have the neck stretch up. Because yeah, I mean, what else would you put in a museum that looks like a skeleton or looks like bones? Of course, you're gonna put a giant creature in there. Put a creature in there. You know, I mean, honestly, if you have a situation, most situations can actually be improved by the addition of a creature. People don't want you to know this. They don't want to admit it. So. Let's see. Should we just go for it? Let's just go for it. It's not called Brontosaurus, it's just called Bone Block. Okay. This will be the leg. The first leg will be standing up there, and then this leg will be straight. And then this leg will be also up here, and this one will also be up here. So this one is 4 blocks long, this is 4 blocks long, this is 3, this is 3. So there's a little bit of an arch to the back. But that doesn't really look right unless that's like that. And that's fine. We can do that. And then this will have its own ribcage, which is just going to be 2 blocks. Let's see, I had a really weird dream. What was it? I was trapped in a museum, Yeah, no, I was actually trapped in a museum. This is real, by the way. I'm not just making up this dream for something to talk about. I know it sounds like I'm lying now that I say it that way, but I was stuck in a museum, and there was a safe room in the museum, and there was an office upstairs, and I think I was a security guard, so I think I was basically having a dream slash nightmare about basically the movie Night at the Museum. Uh, uh, Very good movie. I do recommend. If you're up for it. Do we make the neck that long? Yeah, I think the neck should be like super ridiculously long. And then the tail can sort of swoosh out into the wild blue yonder, and we'll just go up and there, and then one more. And the nice thing is, we could also use birch fences to make slightly narrower bones, just for the very tip of the tail there. I think that looks cute. So then, yeah, we've got that, that looks good. I'm gonna get rid of that one, so that just looks like that, and then, yeah, almost, because I want this to be like that, and I want those ribs look good, the legs look fine. Okay, I think that all looks quite nice. So then I'm gonna put this here, but it's not for another bone block, it's actually for skeleton skull, because there's no other skull in Minecraft that's a proper. I mean, I guess I could put a wither skeleton skull on, but that doesn't really look great. And then we can have the Brontosaurus. Oh, that looks so bad. That's great. No, that's perfect. It's accurate. You know, that's what it is. It's accurate. I think I'm gonna do it like that. Or, wait, actually, can I just staple it to the side? Does that work? Oh, that does. Why did I think that wouldn't work? Okay. Brilliant! Oh, I love it. I love it. It kind of, the whole thing almost looks like a Brontosaurus of its own as well. Oh, this is actually quite nice. Okay. Well then let's just keep going up and make one more level, sort of around the neck, a little half moon balcony, and then stairs up to it, and then glass, and I think leave it at that. I was originally thinking of this as being like sort of another wizard tower, but I think we've got a much better concept has kind of come to light. I think, as much as I think it's a clever idea, I don't really like those thin. I don't really like the fences as bone blocks. And then we've got a very subtle twist of the spine happening here. I'm just kind of ignoring the fact that the back's 2 blocks wide. Yeah, I mean, a Brontosaurus kind of has that, like, has that thing going on, where its face looks a little, like, duck-like. It's got a bit of a snout that pushes out to the front. So I think this skull actually kind of looks more like a snout. So if I could put, like, eyes here, yeah, it would be a little bit more accurate. But this isn't, you know, it's about the it's about the, well, it's about the it. It's about what it is. That's all it's about. It's a sort of inside-outside sort of thing. And just a little bit more material here, just to fill out the space. And a staircase. So how do we do a staircase? I think it's going to be like this, like a spiral staircase. I think is what I would like the most. Oh, there's dogs. There's wolves. Huh. That's kind of neat. Are they? I guess it's just the new. Yeah, I haven't seen the wolves that have the different coloration. So that's actually new to me. Which is, yeah. Well, maybe that makes you laugh, but you know, all my haters become Terminators when I put them in my device that turns you into a tomato. 1, 2, 3. That's what they did to Bob the Tomato in VeggieTales. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then the 7th is the turn. This is 1, then 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, and the 7th is the turn. So that's where it's going to turn. So then that's going to, okay, but we need to make sure that this actually worked. And that didn't work, because that's there. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this would be the turn, but we're actually at the height now that we wanted. So let's go ahead and throw down some actual stairs. And I think in this, I'm going to make like a little atrium here. And that's going to have like maybe a pterosaur up at the top. Because I think now we've got like more space this way here. Let's just add a little bit of extra pizzazz by throwing an extra support pillar here. And we'll be in the water again, but we know how to address that now. I'll do a grass house at some point. Let's see. Glass. There's some more dirt. I don't know if I can get the grass to grow back in those places. So let's not take the risk and just go ahead and cover it right after placing it. Let's see. Excellent at making up weird rules for myself. Well, this has to be like this because of this. But it does help to decide how to do certain things. You just come up with a system, then you don't really have to think too hard about how to do, X, Y, and Z. For example, this idea of going up on pillars and then filling it in from there, that kind of gives me that kind of freedom. I don't. By freedom, I mean constraint, in the opposite of freedom, I guess. But I go up on pillars, and then I fill in a ring, and then I fill in a floor, and then I know kind of what I'm working on. Here we go. So this now has a lot more legs than I had originally meant to give it. It started out with 3. It just gained 1, 2, 3, 4. So now it's at 7 legs. Hey. I mean, this is turning out really nicely. I'm quite happy with this one. Let's see. Now, well, I know what to do with this. This I want to have one more stalk here, but that would be exactly where the train enters through. So I'm going to make like a little curve and then go down from here and then build in at the bottom. So it's like supported. So the platform, so the train, so the rail platform is supported. In my imagination. This is all pretend. So it's elaborately pretend. And that's what computers are for, right? It's just pretend. It's so you can do something without actually doing it. But there's no way to actually do that. It takes energy to run a computer, you know? So you can think of it like a little campfire. Yeah, it doesn't take a lot of energy just to run, you know, a laptop. But it does count. Every application of energy has an impact on the universe. Right? Changes the amount of available oil and gas we have. At least it's a bit of a grim thought, if you want to think of it in that way. But then you start thinking about just entropy in general. And you have to remember, you know, we're just here for this little time, this little speck in, well, a huge existence. Filling this in a little bit, just giving it a little bit of like structure and support, just so it looks a little bit more embedded in the landscape sort of idea. Here, we can just go ham and bring that up a ways. That looks a little better. A little bit more match. Here. Did my grass despawn there? I think it, oh yeah, no, it definitely did, but that was before I noticed that I needed to replace it. Yeah, okay, let's just redo it. And then there, and there. And there. There, and now I have a nice little grassy sort of idea there going on. And then this can fill in. I can fill in a lot of this corner here, as though it's like arching in and connecting here. And then this and this, and well, we just keep going. And just keep going. And just connect as much as possible to this arch, which is actually this tree, which we're going to make a little bit bigger. So we're going to kind of come through here and then lift it up. But not like crazy style, just like normal style. Crazy normal, just to say exceptionally normal. And then I guess we can go out diagonally here. And there, and here, and pop that up, bring that out a little bit, and then this. What does that look like? Does that look any better? Yeah. It makes that look a little strange, but not that strange, just a little. Right? I think of this as like a bunch of branches are kind of like sprouting off at the bottom. And so it's just kind of like there's a little cluster of leaves growing there, but not a big one. And then there and here, just drawing out curves. How do I go about this? Because now this is its own sort of structure, and I'm wondering if it makes sense to make a floor here and then connect it up, or if it makes more sense to make something that kind of lets the dinosaur's tail go out. While I think about that, let me just build up this other pillar. If I sing a single extra note, it's a copyright strike. Do not come for me. I do not have a lawyer. I just get, I don't know, legal eagle to someone to defend me in court. I'll ask him really nicely and then he'll just do it. Do 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 do. Okay. Do I like that? Do I not like it? It could be a lot better, but it could also be a lot worse. It's a good attitude to have. You know, like that, like super therapy. It's not like normal therapy. They give you super therapy. It's when you're really messed up inside. Give you a kind of therapy that, like, I don't know. It's big therapy. It's like, it's just large. It's just physically larger therapy. The therapist is bigger, dimensionally. So, let's do it this way. How do I guess I can connect this. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of like little decisions in a build that all come together by the end. And so yeah, like having pillars and arches just simplifies a lot of the decision-making process. So this is what I was saying about, do I encase the tail? Do I make something that'll cover up the tail? Or do I make something that doesn't? And I think I'm gonna make a very slight, like, dome. But it's not fully gonna encase it. It's gonna make I think it's literally at the same depth. Okay, not quite. It's not quite at the same depth. So it lets the tail just poke out of the structure. And no more than that. And then I'm just filling this in. Why no pink glass? Why not yet? What does that look like? Well, I think that's looking very nice, if I do say so myself. And I do. I think that looks quite clutch. No, I'm not using that word. It looks neat. It looks something. I don't quite remember. Okay. I'm gonna add a branch out here. And just give it a little bit more structure. And maybe here a little bit. And then this can have, I think we're just gonna go a normal size for a birch tree. But I don't remember what exactly that is. And I'm too lazy to go down and just look. So I'm gonna start by making a platform that I know is big enough and then cut it back if I need to. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That looks right. And then it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Like that. That looks right. And then we can just add a couple extra leaf blocks here and there. Just sort of fill in this branching. And why don't we make it like a weeping willow a little bit, and give it just a couple of little places where it's trailing down. Because yeah, we're coming a little bit further ahead in this, and we're getting close to the point of like wanting to fill in a roof. So maybe the roof can be Like the other train station, where it's filled in with leaves. But the other option is to make it more of a planetarium, and I think I'm leaning towards that option more. But I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this kind of geometric like. So what do I mean? I just mean I'm gonna do this so it sort of looks a little bit more architectural, less natchy. You know, it's the antonym to natchy is architectural, I guess, apparently. So we can put that there, and this, okay, so I want this corner to line up with this corner. That's the thing. So let's go here and there, and then just check what's underneath there, and it's nothing. So I'm gonna add an extra couple of connections to here, to this part. So it's got like the strength there. And then here I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to build up and make kind of a ridge going out. I did that on one of the other trees. I think it's two spaces ahead. There, and then sure, why not there, but not there. Nice. Okay, this is good. This is good. Oh, this is very perfect, in fact. Okay. So there's no such thing as perfection. There's only improvement. I don't know. Occasionally, I just get possessed by the spirit of Germanity. It's a terrible condition, you know. It's one of the things that they're trying to address with my giant therapy. But they're losers, is the problem. Not good enough at the therapy. There we go. Yeah. I guess. That's kind of neat. Okay, so then there's this bowl, and there's these two parts. I want to leave this kind of open, but also I kind of don't want to leave it open. So how do I do both? I could make a facade that covers the front. I could do it all with glass. I could make a short wall. I could literally leave it open. I think that last thing is what I'm actually going to do. Just leave it open. Okay, so then one space out here. There's one space out here. I think this is going to be the pterodactyl exhibit. Is this an hour? I feel like this has been well over an hour and a half, but I mean, I'll check the timestamp when I'm watching over this again. and I'll be like, no, you're already at 3 hours. Why did you do that? My vision just took over, okay? I'm like, oh, this will just be a little thing, and then it was like, nope. Just something catches my attention, or there's a concept I want to be able to take it across, and boom. Big thing. Okay. Get across that. Okay, I heard 4 clicks, I think. Okay, so yeah, so from outside the zoo, or outside the exhibit, you can still see the Brontosaurus, which I like. That looks like it needs just a little bit more growth on this side. too much, or it'll look a little weird. Or maybe it won't look a little weird, maybe it'll look exceptionally weird. It makes sense for something to be exceptionally weird. But how do you become exceptionally normal? I think we need to get our best scientists on this. Let's see. We could just carry that out the whole way. I want to have a floor here, so I think it's going to be like this. And then these two just connect. Okay. Yeah, so we're carrying on the tradition. We're making this whole thing kind of into a giant lamp, I think is kind of the punchline to this build. If a build can have a punchline, I'm gonna put like a little model sun, just to mimic what the lava is like. Like those lava pools down there, kind of get that like lantern sort of idea. I get that across. I like that idea, so I'm gonna stick with it. And blink. And blink. And nope. And blink. There we go. That's good. And then how do we do that? I think I'm going to keep it dome style, so it looks like it's sort of bubbled out from the edge, but this is still going to be actually something you can step on. So there's a couple of little places where you can see down to the ground. There's a couple of places you can't. This doesn't really have an interior and an exterior. If I add glass there, it'll sort of break up the silhouette. I mean, I guess you can kind of still see, you can still see that there's something in there, but it's hard to tell what it is from outside. I think honestly the best place to see it from is actually when you're coming in on the train, which is how it's designed. It's like, you want to get the best view there. So the only thing I'm still debating is whether to fill in around the neck to make a glass platform, and I think I've just decided not to do that. So now I'm going to go in with the fence and make a little perimeter around there. So this viewing platform sort of gets a conclusion, if that makes sense to say. We can go here and there, or we could maybe even just build this out like that, and then get rid of those and this, and then you still get this platform to stand on. Or we could even do this and make this sort of situation. I think that makes sense. We could also fill this a little bit further down. let me show you what I'm talking about, the lamp. Okay, this is going to be really funny if I mess up, because it's going to completely, well, I just won't mess up. I just won't mess up. That's obviously a reasonable expectation to have. So we'll start with that, and then it'll make sense why I put those blocks there in a second. Okay. And you probably don't even know what I'm talking about yet, because as far as I know, none of my viewers are telepathic. Oh my goodness. Don't try this at home, kids. I mean, I get it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, I definitely could have done that at a smarter time. Okay, so it's kind of a solarium idea going on here. Okay, so we've got this and this are now at the same height, right? I think. Okay, I gotta make sure. Okay. And I don't know if that's at the exact center point. I put it at like at the approximate center point, but there's also the stairwell. So do you center it on the stairwell or do you center it on the pillars? These are all questions one could ask. Yeah. Not me though. I did it the only correct way. This is the most annoying corner to add a new block to, because they're not actually connected. I don't know, I mean, yeah, the mind just kind of fills in the gaps there. As though this were like as thick as a normal tree trunk, but just going in that direction. Even though literally the width of the tree trunk varies. I don't know. That would be interesting to graph. What's the function that describes how the diameter of the tree trunk varies? If it's made out of cubic segments going at a 45-degree angle upwards and a 45-degree angle sideways. Interesting to graph for someone else. I'm not gonna do that. I might do that. Wolfram Alpha or whatever. Yeah. Does that count as AI? I feel like it doesn't, but I can't really justify that statement. I wonder if that was like an earlier attempt or something. I mean, I guess it kind of has to be, but like most of the stuff that was LLMs before was people training LLMs. So like those CAPTCHAs that were like, oh, you know, what are these letters? Part of, or like identify all the motorcycles. Part of that was just training LLMs, so they had data to validate. So they'd be like, oh, okay, now this is what the human said, so that's our answer for like, does this contain a truck or not? Does this image contain a car or not? And yeah, I mean that goes way back. That was you know, that was around since like 2011. Are we close there? I think we're just at that height then. Okay. So we'll just connect it. So do we use the bottom? Do we use the top? I think we use the bottom blocks as the way to connect that. And then, is this one the same as that one? No. So this one I'll need to make like, well, if I wanted to completely mirror that, let's just go subtle asymmetry. Subtle asymmetry. Like that, and then like this, and then like that, and then like this, and then like that, and this, and that, and then this, or that. Yeah, so it kind of mimics like the dinosaur, or like, I don't know, definitely not like a creature of any kind. Okay, so do I want to make it look kind of like it's supported? Kind of give that impression. I guess here we find out if it's actually centered. And lo and behold, well, it's as close to centered as it's possible to be, considering the center is 3 by 2 and it's 2 by 2. No, no, it's still left. It could be centered. Do I want that? It kind of makes it look like an upside down torch. I think I'm going to keep it. And then this top layer, I could do a couple of things. I could do leaves, but I think what I'm going to do actually is I'm just going to do pink glass, because we've been looking for a place to put in pink, and I think this counts. So this second layer will be pink, and the first layer will be clear, or transparent, or whatever you call it. Some chemist is going to come after me in the comments with a knife. Well, it is clear. It's not, but it's clear and colorless. So if you're a chemist, and you see water in something, and they say, and the person who sees it, they say, oh, you know, this is a clear liquid. Chemists don't like that because there are other clear liquids. So like if you have blue liquid, like if you have water with like some food coloring in it and it's like a little blue, well, is that the same color as water? No, obviously not. It's transparent, so you can see through it. That makes it clear, but water is clear and colorless, so it's not adding any color, and it's very important. It's very important. So this glass is this glass is pink, but the glass on the first stage is colorless, but they're both clear. So you learned something today. You're welcome. This is educational. Okay. Do we? Oh, what do we do with that? Do we come up? Do we do that? I think we do this. So then there's 2 layers, and they're both like this. I wonder what this is going to look like from a distance. I'm hoping it looks kind of like a flower. I want to put leaves around this second floor here. So more leaves around here. Just so it has like a little that's definitely what I need to say. It has a little, yeah, I guess just accidentally bumped it. Okay. We'll let that one out. Yeah, what does that look like? That's gonna look really neat at night, actually. I feel like the structure itself needs a little something because it's very spindly on the top. I mean, definitely gonna put a tree up, but maybe there's something more I can do to kind of give it, yeah, just a little bit more flair, just a bit more structuralness. Well, I can do the two at the diagonal, so that's, I can do like 2 trees diagonally from each other. I think I just got math wrong with the other one. I need to get rid of the block that was at the end, because I thought... No, my brain's just being weird. Got a wires crossed. If I've got a lot of dead air in this video, let's see, I can put some music on. I have some, a bigger piece of music that I put together for a video of drawing for Compost Pal. So I'm drawing these tree structures, and so there I've got like lots and lots of branches. So I just make like a random cloud of colored points, which are basically the leaves. They're partially transparent. So the size of the sphere is the size of the dots, is like basically like a leaf is like you can kind of approximate what it looks like from a distance as just a disc that turns at some angle relative to you. It doesn't matter whether it's turning like pitch or yaw, it doesn't matter like relative to the viewer which angle it's turning in. Either whatever angle it is, it's always going to be some fraction of the size as if the disc was, as if you were looking directly at the top of the disc. So think of the leaf, if you're looking directly at the leaf, and then it's blocking out the most possible light from something that's behind the leaf. But if the leaf is tilted in any direction, you'll be seeing slightly less than 100% of what you can, see of the leaf. So all that to say, the leaves will, like, all those dots are like random differences between each other. So I have a cloud of points of random distance and size, because the leaves also vary in size. And so then I just connect them. I just like draw everything like connected to that base at the end. I'm not making any sense. I'm making a video of drawing tree branches on tree structures, and I made a bunch of music for it. So this is all, it's all with the Seagull Merlin and an aluminum soda can, and like audio distortions, and then playing those sounds back and forth and making like echoes and ripples and waves in the sound. So I'll put some of it in this video because I've got a bunch of extra just good ambient sound to share that isn't going to really fit in that drawing process video, but this gives it somewhere to live, because I guess I just don't have a lot to say today. In a first, let's see, birch door, and here we put that there. We can take this, and then just build that up, and then this is a good place to put more glass. And just simplify this all down for us, because we don't need the lava anymore, not at all, not even a little bit. Although this could be fence. I mean, it's just... Oh, how did my nightmare go? Okay, so this nightmare, I don't have ADHD, you have ADHD. I was at the museum, and I was the night security guard. I knew for some reason that I was the night security guard, and it's just dream logic, right? You just know, what your role is, where you are, what the general situation is. It doesn't have anything to do with something you observed or something you were told. It's just true because it's in the dream and you know it. Let's see if we can actually spawn that one. Is that going to work? No. Sadly, okay, alright. Let's just accept that. So I was in the museum. I was taking care of exhibits. I was locking up for the night, and I remember being in the office, and I knew that for some reason I just knew that there was a killer. There was a killer on the loose, and I knew that there was a gun in the office. So I was doing my final rounds for the night, patrolling, the museum, and I knew also in the dream that the killer was afoot. Not that he was like a body part, but that he was around. And so I was like trying to do my last little round of the night and check on everything and like get back to the office where the gun was, so I could like lock the office door and hide away for the night while the killer wandered the halls. I don't know if the killer was like a mummy or a ghoul or some kind of spiritual presence or a ghost or like a disgruntled former employee or what the situation was. I just knew that if I stayed out in the open, that it would get me. So I was hiding, and I ran into somebody. I ran into a stranger, and I for some reason, they were like a friend of mine. They like maybe, I think I knew them, and I wanted to like protect them for whatever reason. There was someone I didn't want the killer to get. So maybe it was also just that like it was just a stranger and they were there, and I knew that put them in danger. So I told them, "Oh no, there's a killer. You got to be safe, right? You got to get away." And the first thing that they did was they went to like, there was also a vault in this museum. There was like a bank vault, like a really massive, big doored bank vault. And they were like, and for some reason they knew about it. So maybe they were there to rob the place. I don't know. Oh, that looks clean. Huh. Well, that is very charming. I think this build has turned out very charmingly. So this person dragged me into the bank vault, and I was like, no, we can't go there, but I didn't want to admit, for whatever reason, that the gun was in the office. And I think the reason really was I didn't know if this person was the killer, and if I told them where the gun was, then obviously they know where it is. So then they'd get me. Would be the problem with doing that. So I didn't want that to happen. So I didn't tell them, and then we ended up caught in the bank vault. We were just stuck there, and then there was this knocking on the bank vault door, and I was like, oh no, the killer now knows, and now we're trapped. And yeah, it's like hard to get in, but like they know exactly where we are. They can just wait outside until we have to go. Like, but I mean, I guess it would have been just like the night, and then the morning shift would have come in or something. Oh yeah, this is dripping. Let's fix that. Let's fix that with. Could we do pink? Does that make sense at all? I think it makes some sense. Okay. I just don't want the dripping effect coming down. So this other person got me stuck, got me trapped in the bank vault, and there was a murderer outside, and we got. I guess I think I woke up before I actually got murdered, or before anyone got murdered, but we would have got big murdered. That would have been rough. So yeah. I don't know. Sometimes you can't explain things to people, but the best option is sometimes not to explain, and just to do what will be safer for both of you in the long run. Something. Let's see. How can I make this into a proverb? I can find a way, I guarantee. Always I can find a way. So then this is like that. And that's like that. So there's two sets of doors that go down to that balcony, but you can see the balcony through there. This is all basically inside. So even though it's a train station, it's like a big museum. It's all free to the public. So it's totally, I don't know, a totally accessible enterprise. There's the stairwell. There's the that. There's the this. What were we doing with this? Does this still need to be here? No. Does there need to be a light source here? Yeah. Does there need to be a light source in this corner? Yeah. And then I mean, all of these glowberries are going to grow down. So that's the thing. I have to like try and plan for once they do grow down, where do they end up, and how does that fill in the space? So yeah, this kind of looks like it does kind of look like a big skull. It looks like a lot of different things. I'm going to have to take a little bit of time with my brain to figure out how to see it. It's kind of interesting, like you're just adding blocks, right, to the structure, but then at the end you're kind of looking and you're like translating it in your mind into something that's like a real tree, like that's like got all of the curvature of a real tree, and so you kind of see like the flow in the whole thing, if that makes any sense. Yeah, it's all like conduits for water. It's like the opposite of a river. Instead of collecting water and bringing it down, it's collecting water and then shooting it up and bringing it up. And so when I'm drawing trees, it's like you're drawing those river systems. It's like if you look at maybe the Laniakea supercluster, that's the cluster of galaxies that makes up that our own galaxy, the Milky Way, is connected to. So it's these big lines in the sky of galaxies, whole galaxies, just carpeted out into the void, and it's I think held together by clusters of denser, like clusters of matter, so like gas. So it's these enormous gas clouds. But the last time I read anything about it, they were saying that it's not known how all of the gravity, like how there's enough gravity to cause all of these things to come together in those like river sort of structures. But it all kind of comes towards one. Well, they call it an attractor because they don't really know what it is, but it's just attractive force. And of course, I don't know, maybe new research has been done on this. This is probably out of date, so don't take my explanation as like, you know, definitely true. I could be wrong, but there are these rivers of galaxies in space, and our galaxy is just one little stick on that river, and you know, of course, we're just one little speck orbiting one little star in that massive river. You know, there's a frog on the log. In the hole in the bottom of the sea, there's a frog on the log. In the hole in the bottom of the sea, there's a tick on the frog. In the hole, in the log, in the bottom of the sea, and then it goes on like that. It's a song. I didn't. You know what? I wrote it. That was me. I've decided. I could fill in a little bit of this space with a bunch of branches and do the same thing there and do the same thing here, and then just carry that down and then do more. Yeah, but it's a fun thing to do, to actually draw branches, because I every time I depict a tree in art, in a sculpture, in a drawing, it's like usually I just draw like the general outline and it's just like a cloud. But you know, I mean, that's not really what a tree is. It's not just like it's not a cloud of vapor. There's a structure to it. But in order to actually depict the structure, you have to internalize all of its complexity, and you start to see how it's all connected and how it all works together when you actually like draw the branches. But yeah, you get to see that, and you get to see that with like, yeah, echoes of a stringed instrument. I think of it as like one of those like lo-fi sort of things. You know, those channels that are like for music to study to. Yeah, kind of like that. Then I've got some experimental stuff, as in like stuff from stuff that is science experiments regarding like forming new meristems. Still want to put that out this week, or at least finish it this week. I don't know when I'm actually going to have it published. But you know, I like to build up the anticipation. And I'll leave that. And then, yeah, that looks good there. That looks good. That looks good. There's like balance. I think I'll have a little bit in here. Not like a crazy amount, but just like a little bit of branching here. Yeah. And there, and then is there anything else I want to add? I guess let's take a look on the inside. Let's take a look here and see what it looks like through here, because there's a little oak tree growing. There's some space down here, right? You can kind of see that dome space. I think I want to fill in a little bit more of that, so the arching is kind of supporting the bottom of that dome, imaginaneously. Okay. So then my autism is happy. Is it autism? Is it ADHD? You wish you knew. Okay. Let's see. Then there's a little bit more there, there's a little bit more there. Maybe we could connect these two with like another support. Okay, so that looks a little bit better, sort of structurally, if it even makes sense to call it structural. Let's add one more, just pillar here, down to ground, and then fill in this, and then we can maybe add this and that and this and that, so it's got a little bit more volume to it. So there you can kind of see there's like a whole connection there from bottom to top. There's another one, there's another one, there's another one, there's another one. I guess the question then becomes, like, if this was real, could you model, like, on a physical level, right? Like as an architect, could you model the wood and its anisotropy and figure out whether this would actually be able to stand and support the weight of all the glass and the Brontosaurus, for example, and set like a minimum, or like just a constraint, like knowing that it can hold, 40,000 pounds or whatever, like actually know the exact weight, or have an upper limit on the exact weight that this could support. Oh, you know what? There was one more thing I wanted to add. And let's just do it now. Because the best time to do anything is today. This is going to make sense in a second. And there's the pterosaur. Is pterosaur an outdated term? I feel like, because they're not dinosaurs. That's the thing people like to point out. It looks so elegant, doesn't it? Ah, perfect. All right. Like, share, comment, subscribe, follow me on Patreon. As always, thank you so much for watching. No matter who you are, no matter what you're going through in life, remember, it is always Tuesday. And have a great day.